Hey there, this is Mike. Welcome back to Feeling Twisty. I'm so glad you're here. I took a much longer break than I had originally thought I would, but I'm happy to be back talking with you. So, what's been happening this past year? I've heard from a few of you, and I want to thank you for sharing your experiences with me over this past year. In my last episode, I challenged you to drop your reliance on anything seemingly on the outside of you. All teachers, coaches, gurus, and podcasts, and turn to the only power, yourself. I challenged you because it's the same thing I did. I realized I was still hanging on the words of others, hanging on to what Neville Goddard said, and a couple of other similar teachers, to the point of making the teachings into another religion. And maybe you've had a similar realization. I would imagine something I wanted, and then Neville's words would come back to me. Don't you dare doubt. If you really believe, feel the reality of your scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. And then I would second guess myself. Was that scene good enough? Did I really feel it real? Do I really believe? Oh, wait a second, I'm doubting. Am I doubting? I think that's doubt. Oh, crap. I gotta do better. Now I have to redo the whole thing. Is that tightness in my chest? Oh, God, what does that mean? I'm just a tightly wound ball of fear and doubt, and I'm really screwing things up now. Ah! Quick, do another scene. Get back into the state. What state? Oh my God, I don't even know what state I should be getting into. So I have to feel wealthy. I have to feel healthy. I have to absolutely feel it with no doubt, or I'll never get it. And there I go. Down, down, down. The doom spiral. And then it hit me. Mike, you got to let go of that crap. Whose rules are you following? So I promised myself I would let go of everything that came from seemingly on the outside of me. No more depending on another's words. I will only rely on my own experiences and not he said or they said this. Only go by what I know, my experiences. And the experience that led me to doing this podcast was the healing. I wasn't a manifesting scholar when I was healed 6 years ago. It was a moment of pureness, simple, lean, and clean. I'd had enough of being sick. I can remember that moment like it just happened. Lying on my bed, Thanksgiving morning, 2017. Thinking about the conversation I'd had with my daughter a few days before. We had talked about all the places we wanted to visit, most of them rocky or mountainous. I told her none of those places are wheelchair friendly. And that morning, as I was lying on the bed, that conversation came to mind. And then God said, how are you going to do any of that in a wheelchair? And I replied, you're right. God said, I guess it's time for dystonia to go. And I said, okay. That was it. Nothing happened. Nothing happened immediately. I was still rolling around in my wheelchair or shuffling through the house with my crutches. 6 days later, I was sitting in a chair, my crutches propped up against the arm. And I stood up to go into the kitchen. Now, I would usually grab my crutches and pull myself up, lock them both on my arms, and proceed. But I didn't that night. I didn't give it a thought. I just stood up. I stood right up and walked smoothly into the kitchen without the crutches. It was so natural, I didn't even realize what was happening until I'd taken 5 or 6 steps. Now, folks who've heard that story before have reached out to me. Some have, asking me questions. Did you doubt at all over those 6 days? Yep, sure did. What was your mental diet? Didn't even concern myself with my mental diet. So it probably wasn't great. What did you imagine? Well, I had tried imagining scenes prior to that, but I really couldn't come up with a scene that I believed implied my wish fulfilled. I didn't remember what it felt like to be healthy, so I couldn't imagine running on a beach or doing sit-ups or anything that would feel like I was completely pain-free. It was a decision. I said I had a conversation with God that Thanksgiving morning, and I did, except not the God I had grown up believing in. I am God. You are God. There is no other. You don't need to spend another dollar on coaching programs or retreats, unless it's something you want to do. If it feels good and it's fun, do it. It isn't necessary. Coaches and teachers, even this podcast, come into your life because you're imagining you need help from another. And that's wonderful. You see, you did that. You imagined you needed help. You needed guidance, and guidance came. But it's always been you helping yourself. These others are only signposts on your highway telling you who you are and where you're going. Recognize the signposts and keep going if it's the direction you want. No need to take the exit, pull over, and listen to only that teacher. There's no power in them. It's your own consciousness that has the power, your own imagination. You, not something separate from you. You, the one listening to this podcast right now. I'm not knocking anyone at all. I'm talking about freedom here. Letting go of dependence on anybody else. And I'm thankful for everybody, every one of them that came into my life, because they did so at exactly the right time. You know, we say things like, I am God, my imagination is God. And maybe you noticed the same thing I did. I was saying it, but I was still allowing some separation. Yes, my imagination is God. But I was still personifying this imagination as something separate from me. There is no separation. I don't know, Mike, it sure seems like it is. I mean, have you seen the news? There is no separation. You are infinitely powerful. You are greater than any failure or any success story you can imagine. Every possible story is contained within you and accessible by you. I recently saw a quote on Facebook. A couple of people have posted this quote, one of my quotes. It says, before I can possibly solve a problem, I must first be imagining I have a problem. Yeah. And I'll catch myself reminding myself of that too. Like, geez, Mike, instead of trying to figure out how to imagine fixing this, why not just let go of the idea that you have that problem? The solution to any problem comes from you, your own consciousness. You. And so does the imagined problem. The fulfillment of the wish is just as present right now as the wish is. The solution is just as present right now, this very moment, as the problem is. Both of them flat, two-dimensional, lifeless, except for my willingness to allow either to be. I like to think of them as sides of a coin. Looking at it from one point of view, it seems and feels like I don't have what I want. But it's just a turn of the coin, and I see I had it all along. Decide a thing, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. Enough said. Trust yourself that your dreams are already being fulfilled. They are. They're all right here, right now. Now, I know some days it doesn't feel like it. I get that. I'm right there with you. I know, it's like, geez, this day doesn't feel like it's right here, right now, but I know it is. Right now, in this very moment, the fulfillment is being established. Decide a thing and it's established for you. Accept that. No meditation or imaginal procedure to follow. It's done. Decide and ride. Enjoy the ride. Look around. Look at yourself in a mirror. See how powerful you are? You're doing all of this with no effort. You chose this role, this character, this experience of being this person with no effort. But when it comes to one of the big three, wealth, health, and love, we think we're small and powerless. Ugh, not true. I don't care what circumstances look like, what your eyes and ears tell you. It's not true. You're not small. You're not powerless. That's just a story you wake up every morning insisting on experiencing for another day. Just accept it right now. Accept that right now, this very moment, is part of the fulfillment. It's already happening. You created this moment. Look around, check it out, smell the flowers. Isn't it beautiful? Tell yourself, I did this with no effort. And it's beautiful. I'm so happy to be back on the microphone talking with you. I look forward to hearing from you. You can reach me at mike@feelingtwisty.com. And as always, I love you.